All right, once you've completed the 2021 Daytona 500 event, the NASCAR event, then you would have won one of the new season cars. So now I do have some, I don't know, another 80,000 or so motorsport dollars that I can earn for today's daily cap. And I still have another hour or so left on the instant service offer. Let's make some progress in the new season, the 2021 season. And these NASCAR is kind of peculiar in the game that they always have a limited amount of time to win or purchase each season cars. And if you don't get it before the timer expires, then the season will be gone forever, as in you won't have access to it. But as soon as you win the car, the season will stay with you as long as the game's in place. Right, so 2021 season. All right, 73rd season of professional stock car racing. Chase Elliott is the defending champion. That is Hendrick Motorsports, isn't it? Yes. So for this season, obviously you need a 2021 season NASCAR in order to participate in this season. The total gold reward is 72 gold and 72,000 motorsport dollar reward as well for 100% completing this season. As you can see, the first 25% will get you 9 gold and 9,000 motorsport out of that 72 gold and 72,000 motorsport dollars that's available. And oh goodness, how many tiers is this? 22 tiers. All right, and I'm assuming that we go through different venues. So one venue, one time trial from that same venue to follow. So tier 1, we start at the Brickyard, only Speedway because we're talking about NASCAR. And then we got the time trial there. And then tier 3 and 4, looks like tier 3 is gonna be the Catalunya variety event tier, and followed by the time trial there. And let's see, they're all NASCAR events, so there's no like time trial and such. I wonder if that's going to continue for the entire season here. And tier 5 and 6 is going to be the Hockenheim night race. You understand, NASCARs don't have headlights, and Hockenheim isn't exactly the best lit circuit either. It's certainly not like the NASCAR circuit where it's lit up as well as it is daytime, right? So, all right, so tier 5 and 6, Hockenheim, all right. And followed by tier 7 and 8, Suzuka. All right, so most likely Suzuka East is where the NASCAR typically races, right? And then tier 9 and 10 are gonna be at Laguna Seca. All right, back to US under California sun. And then tier 11 and 12 are gonna take place back at the Brickyard, most likely a bit longer race. I'm assuming the first tier race that we have access to right away is going to be somewhat shorter race, maybe, we'll see. Tier 13 and 14, we're heading to UK, Silverstone. All right, so that's most likely going to be like a national circuit, right? That's where NASCAR typically races at, not the Grand Prix circuit. And tiers 15 and 16, we're going to be at Spa. That's going to be interesting. NASCAR at Spa. Imagine that. And then tier 17 and 18, we get to race at Circuit of the Americas, which is, I think we actually race at the Grand Prix circuit at COTA. I think that's how the real race is taking place this year. So that's, of course, a big talk of the town right now in NASCAR circuit, right? And then tier 19 and 20. Yeah, I remember, watching an interview with the NASCAR going to the Circuit of the Americas, where the crew chief and the racers themselves, they may have to rely on like a map in the car in order so they can communicate with the chief in terms of which corner they are referring to by number. Because when they say like, oh yeah, there's a wreck at the, corner 17 or something, we've never raced NASCAR at, Circuit of the Americas Grand Prix circuit. So it's, kind of funny that the professionals have to kind of learn the circuit as they go. I suppose that's what happens when you introduce a new circuit, right? So tier 19 and 20, it's going to be at Daytona, and the final two are going to be at Mount Panorama. So we don't get to race at Richmond. That's a interesting choice. A little bit of a surprise. Anyway, let's get started. Tier 1. We still have hour and exactly 1 minute. It just turned into. We're going to be starting out with a 3-lapper, and this is the car that I've won, Chip Ganassi Camaro. And the other cars are all locked, so you don't have access to any of these cars unless you win it or buy it after the events expire. Right, so no showcase tiers in motorsports, so you won't get any discount either. Alright, the grid ticker at the top is always fun. That's something very unique to NASCAR. They should have that to other events too. It's fun. Anyway, there we go. I don't have tuning setup installed yet on this car, even though I won it from the event in the regular 2021 season. When you hop into this part of the game, you're sort of starting with a stock car without any tuning setup put in. But thankfully, Tier 1 does not require any PR, so we're good here. But with that being said, installing the tuning setup that you win, or I've won from the Daytona 500 event, is free. There really is no reason why you wouldn't want to put it on your car, because you will obviously go faster. And your car just will be overall better. Right. So, yeah. And your crew chief also earns some bonus XP for installing it as well. Right, lap 2. And yeah, and you can pretty much do this with a tilt A, I feel like. What am I set to right now? Sensitivity still at 5, okay. I might go back to sensitivity 10. It's where I'm normally at, but during the NASCAR, I figured that the Speedway section, you don't want jittery hand, you know what I mean? So I switched it or brought it down to 0 early on, and then I was like, oh, that's a bit of a shock to your system. So ended up meeting halfway at 5, and it's good enough. I was able to get used to that. So finished the event with that setting. And see if we can make some progress. If 3 laps around the Brickyard Speedway. How much does that pay you? I guess we'll find out. Takes 2 minutes and 38 seconds or so. You probably could have finished this sooner. I was coasting a little bit. 625 drive rack speed. All right. 14,850 motorsport dollars. All right, so that's not bad. Not as good as Formula One, but you know, Formula One is of course the king of car race, right? So, all right, and it does take out quite a few service bars. So, yes, would be advisable to try to make as much progress as you can while that 3-hour service from the special event is in place, right? So the second NASCAR event for Tier 1, still at the Brickyard. It's going to be a 6-lapper this time. So that will take, my assumption, based on the first one taking like 2.5 minutes. This will be like 5-minute race, right? And, well, we've already seen the intro screen, so we don't have to sit through that anymore. Here we go. Alright, once again, get on the inside, and let's see if we can race up the grid and get up to the front without having to deal with any traffic. That's a serious issue here. And also the kind of a special feature of the NASCAR. Right? So, you know, in Real Racing 3, you got the regular cup race, which is just regular racing. When they say Formula E race, that means you have a battery management going on, right? Battery power. And then when you have a NASCAR, it generally means a gigantic grid. It used to be NASCAR was the only category of the game where you got to do drafting, or the drafting physics was active. But nowadays, of course, all parts of the motorsport section, you have the drafting physics enabled, I think. So I wish they would expand it beyond the motorsports, you know, because if you think about it, let's say Endurance Legends, right? Those are LMP1s. Come on. Who relies more on aerodynamics than the likes of LMP1s? Exactly. So it's kind of funny that those cars, you don't have the advantage or the aspect of that in the game. So, I don't know. Seems a bit inconsistent. Well, that's my 2 cents. Not a big deal either way. But that would certainly introduce more variety, which I always find exciting. Anyway, I mean, yeah, NASCAR is going in circles, aren't we, here? At least in the NASCAR circuit, the proper NASCAR circuits. And this gets kind of lonely. There's nobody around. My goodness. Ditched those opponents so early on. Maybe I should have stayed with the traffic a bit longer to just make the race a bit more exciting. But this is turning into a bit of a snooze fest. In fact, speaking of snooze fest, I am feeling the tilt A. probably could go with the button control as well. You know, on occasion you just tap the left side of the screen to initiate the turn, the gentle turns, right? Have the steering assistant and the braking assistant, traction control on and all that, and let the car steer itself. Especially when you have this much of a lead. Ah! What I need is a snooze control, not a traction control. Now, will I end up regretting winning this event by a huge margin? I don't know. Maybe I should slow down a bit. Don't win by such a large margin. If I can make the progress in this season without having to invest any gold at all, I would definitely prefer that. So, alright, we'll try to at least keep the margin of victory somewhat within reasonable range. Alright. Yeah, just under 30,000 motorsport dollars for that, which means, yeah, about 5 minutes and 13 seconds, right? That seems to line up. And yeah, this event is going to require a lot of servicing if you don't have the instant service available. And that does unlock that time trial, which should be basically stay on the inside kind of the circuit time trial.